Hey GED students, let's take a look. It says translate the phrase into an algebraic expression. Do not simplify. And then we have this phrase down here they'd like us to translate. It says the product of x plus 1 and 3x minus 1. And before you start panicking like, wow, Kate, first lesson and we're getting in this deep, I just would like to remind you what it means when I tell you to translate a phrase into an algebraic expression. All I'm saying is I would like you to write this phrase in the language of algebra. I want you to use symbols instead of words. I mean, really, that's what I'm saying here. And then I even say to you, if you say, well, Kate, but I don't know how to deal with these x's and these 3x's and all that, I say do not simplify. So I'm telling you, don't do any of the math. Just write it down. So that being said, we're not panicking. We're just writing it down. And we can see that there's actually not even that much English here that we need to translate. I mean, x plus 1 is already in the language of algebra, that language of numbers and operand symbols. And so is 3x minus 1. So really what I need to know is what these things are doing. And we see here the word product. And we learned in the basic operations video that product means multiply. Now, here's where a lot of students go wrong. They do one of two things. Either they try to use the old-fashioned times sign for multiply. For example, x plus 1 times 3x minus 1. First of all, this is just confusing because it's hard to tell the x's from the times. But besides that, it's also wrong. It's also wrong. You remember that we said that the way that we were going to start talking about multiplication in algebra, that was using parentheses, was better and stronger than the time sign because it doesn't just multiply. We can also use parentheses to group. And because we have this kind of complicated expression that we're multiplying with, it's not just x or just 1. It's this whole x plus 1. I want to take this whole group, x plus 1, and multiply it with a whole nother group, 3x minus 1. Those parentheses are absolutely crucial. The time sign will not be strong enough. And then the other common error that students are used to, because they're used just like, if I say 5 times 6, I can do it this way with the first number outside of the parentheses and the second one inside of the parentheses. But be careful, you could not do that with this problem. You could not say, oh, I'll take all of x plus 1 and multiply it by 3x minus 1. This does not mean the same thing as that. Okay, in this, it's only the one that's shoved up against the parentheses, so it would be only the one multiplying, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted this whole thing, parentheses to say that, multiplying by this whole thing, parentheses to say that. And now we're just going to stop because this particular problem said do not simplify. So I wrote the expression. I'm not going to bother to do any of the math. But just to let you know what you're in for, the common problem that comes up on the GED, and it is on the calculator section, but still it has x's, so you have to understand the algebra behind it. It looks like this, but it does have you simplify. It'll probably say something like find the simplified product of x plus 1 and 3x minus 1, or just find the product. And so that's not just writing about it, but actually doing it. And so we'll learn about that though in Unit 1, Algebra. For now, let's just stick with, we knew what they were talking about. When they told us to take a product of these two big ugly numbers, they happen to be called binomials, but it doesn't matter. These two big complex things, the easiest way to do so was just to put them both in parentheses and shove them up next to each other. Whew. All right, good job. Happy learning.